Hello and good evening. Looks as though I've got a stiff neck. Welcome to Trisha Time with me, Trisha, as so totally Trisha. So it will be lovely to have your company on this cold, frosty evening. And I wonder who's going to join me tonight. So I know I shall be able to see comments. So by all means, give me a wave, give me a like, give me a love if you like to. But say hello so that I know who's watching tonight. I am slightly early by 1 minute, but I thought I'm ready. Hello, Sharon. Lovely to see you tonight. I must get in touch with you. Being in Northern Ireland, I hope you're not too snowed in. I know it doesn't look too good from what I see on the weather forecast, but I hope you're all doing well. Hello, Jane. Hello, Jeeta. Up in Scotland, I should imagine you're having some cold weather up there. Hello, Liz. And hello, Marilyn. Oh, this is nearly dying. Hello, Sarah. Right, let's see if I can find me on here, because when I'm showing you, hello, Julie, I like to be able to see on here as well. Hello, Sue, and hello, Vanessa. You're warm and snug. Did the bills, eh? We are warm and snug. Right, I don't know what you mean, Vanessa. Hello, Dorothy. Hello, Sue. Yes, blow the bills, if that's what you mean. Hello, Tony. Hello, Sue. Oh, yes, exactly. Blow me down with the feather. That's what I keep doing. Hello, Sue. I keep putting it on in the morning now so that we're nice and snugly before we go outdoors and brave the elements to school. But 2 days off. So I might program it to come on tomorrow and perhaps get up a little bit later than I usually do. But I shall be awake, and when my brain goes ping, up I get, because I can't wait. Hello, Kirsty. No, oh, you're good. That's lovely, Sharon. I'm glad to hear that. I must admit, GC's not got any snow, but it's been lovely and sunny. Goodness. Hello, Alison. Hello, Sandra. I haven't been too far. Today, I had to go to the post office. I just couldn't leave it any longer because I don't like delaying things. There weren't too many things to go out, but I did venture out. It wasn't nice. It wasn't dreadful, but I don't like it. And to be quite frank, I'm getting a little bit bored with the cold weather. I mean, it won't be that long before I'm saying I'm getting a little bit bored with all this heat. But at the minute, it's just, if I can do things like up here, it's okay, downstairs, but I work from the conservatory. I've got loads of space in there. Hi, Bev. Hello, Linda. And I can spread everything out and do my cutting, do my packing, everything. But it's so, so cold. I just can't go in there because, as you'll probably feel as well, if you're cold, you don't feel 100%. And I like to feel well. So hello, Marilyn, and hello, Marion. Oh, lovely to see you all tonight. And there's Jill. Hello, Jill. Loved that bag. I haven't had a chance to get round to comment and do anything, but very, very nice indeed. And looks lovely in that fabric. Hello, Jane. Took ages to defrost the car this morning. Yes, it did for me too. I must admit, I got a little bit of damp inside as well, which wasn't good. Oh, who's arrived in Finland? Shirley. Oh, my word. Oh, your friend has just arrived in Finland. -25. Oh, my goodness. But at least they know what to do with the temperatures. And it must be bright white snow everywhere. How lovely. Hello, Jenny. Lovely to see you. And hello, Carolyn. And hello, Beverly. And hello, Carol, Yvonne, Jack, Sandra. Oh, they're all coming up now. Oops, says Sue. Oh, somebody's going in the wrong place. Yes, -25 is very cold. Who's heating? Jeeta's heating was on the blink. Oh, I'm glad it's all fixed. Well done. You can't be going on the blink at the minute, can you? Hello, Kim. Hello, Rena. Something crossed my mind then. Oh, I thought, yes, have you heard the news? Hello, Amanda. Hello, Sue. And hello, Caroline. Caroline, yours has gone in the post today. Yeah, I did. I thought I might need an afternoon nap, but it got to 20 to 3, which gave me 20 minutes, and that wasn't long enough. Beautiful sunset at 3:30. Oh, lovely. Hello, Joanne. Hello, Jill. And hello, Janet. Oh, how lovely. Yes, no, I'll go back to what I was going to say as well. Thinking, hello, Susan. Jack's got to pop to the shops after this. Oh, yes, you be very, very careful. Oh, there's Janet, you know, from a freezing Crawley. Oh, my goodness. It's cold everywhere, isn't it? Hello, Jill. Just stay snugly. Get your quilts out, because I'm sure you've made some. You have. I turn it up, and he turns it down. I just put it on. I pay the bills, so I have it when I want. That's what I say. I just like closing the doors behind you, though. Our kitchen is cold because there's no radiator in there. So I like to keep the kitchen door closed, and then the heat doesn't go or the cool doesn't come in. So, you know, it just makes sense to close the doors behind you. But somebody forgets. So I slam it to make to make it known that I'm not happy that the door's left open. Oh, there's Brenda. Hello, Brenda. Oh, Brenda, I have. No, I have received it, and I haven't replied back to you, have I? I am sorry, but I'm glad you're okay. Yes, and we'll do it over the weekend, Brenda. You can give me a call over the weekend because I shall be around doing bits and pieces. Yes, I meant to send you my number, didn't I? Sorry about that. I'm a little bit remiss at times, and I do apologise. Hello, Sonia. Hello, Rosemary. Not good in the cold. No, it's getting a bit lighter. True, I totally agree there. So something to look forward to as spring comes nearer. I totally agree, Rosemary. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Hello, Beryl. Hello, Nikki. Heating on 23, it's still cold. Oh, yes, I would. That's it. Watch from your bed. That would be lovely. Oh, I missed what Jen said. What did Jen say? Hello, Jen. You had one of those too. An afternoon nap. Yeah, I should have done, but I didn't. Oh, lovely. Caroline's under her heated blanket. Hello, Patricia. Oh, there are 2 or 3 things popped into my head. Right, number 1, the website. Oh, the website. So, as you know, on the 10th of December, when I emailed with my moans, no, I put it very, very nicely, saying that I was very disappointed in the service I'd received. This wasn't working, that wasn't working. I had paid for migration from one to another, and, oh, there's Beverly. Hello, Beverly, and Virginia, and Karen. And I hadn't basically got what I paid for. To be told that I needed to, it had been passed over to her colleague to review it, and on return from his annual holiday on the 6th of January. So on the 6th of January, I emailed about 10:30, wishing them a Happy New Year, and also saying that I assume that they're working on my website now, to have a response of saying that as they had only been open for 2.5 hours since Christmas, they would be working on it this week. Well, Wednesday was the first time somebody worked on it. And I must admit, and what they have done or are doing is moving it over to another server, which was something that I, in my Googling about it all, had seen that was an option. Well, they've done that, and they're moving all my products over. But in doing that, a lot of them, especially the PDFs, have got files missing. Now, every time I upload a PDF onto the website, the file is added to it without a shadow of a doubt. So something went wrong at their end, as I know most definitely, but they're still working on it. So on the website, products, there may be products without pictures because that has been messed as well, but you'll be able to read what they are, as in fusible fleece, thermolam, the waddings. and kits. I have been able to upload the kits from the Sew with Trisha group Anthea bag. They are on the website. But PDFs, I will, if you want to buy a PDF that says it's a PDF, which you download yourself, I will, if you would like, continue with printing them off and posting them out for free. So they will be £6 with free postage. Now, any of the lower priced ones will, because I think there are a couple or some at £3. The free ones, I can't post out for nothing, but any that are full price of £6, I will print off and put them in the post for you with no additional cost. So, as I say, if you do buy a PDF, I will take it that I'm printing it and posting it to you. But otherwise, it's still... Oh, go away. The other thing I did notice when I was looking at the website, I couldn't find a basket to actually view the basket. So instead, I went to checkout and the basket came up. So I suppose it could be that. Evening, Patsy. So yes, but I have, as you will probably all have noticed, I have set up a group called Fabric and Kits with So Totally Trisha, and it is, at the moment, it's a public group, so you can just go into it, but it will become private. So a lot of you have had to request to join, some haven't. So that I will be putting products on there as I go. At the minute, there's just the bag kits, the Anthea bag, and felt is on there at the minute, but I'll put some other bits and pieces on there. And with that, if you've already dealt with me, you will know how to send your payments. But in the featured section, it does say, for those who are new, if you comment under the product that you like, quantity and colour if necessary, a choice of colours, with your email address or your PayPal address, and I will send an invoice out to you. So that is the website and the new group. The other thing I was quickly going to mention, have you seen that the craft store is returning on the craft store? I think it's basically, hi Kathleen. Oh dear, oh dear. So that is driving me, I'm sure it is, because I bet there's so many things you want to do. As soon as, even if it's your little finger, it's amazing what you do with your little finger when you can't use it. So, no, I hope it improves very, very quickly, Kathleen. Pardon me. So, the craft store. Hi, Linda. The craft store was, if you remember the days of Hochanda, it then became the craft store. Before, it was taken over and, oh, Gita saw it, yes. And before, it then became Create and Craft. Now, Paul Wright, an absolutely lovely, lovely gentleman. You've not heard of the craft store? Oh, right. Yes, Paul Wright, who, that's where I started off with Hochanda. He owned Hochanda. He then changed the name and became the craft store. Rena saw it too, yes. And then when he decided, and that was run by Hochanda Global, when he decided to retire, no, that's right, Create and Craft, the original Create and Craft, went into administration, and he bought Create and Craft and ran that for a year, but then he decided to retire because he's a little bit older than me, and why shouldn't you retire when you're, say, coming up 70? And a consortium took it over, which things happened, bad things happened. Yes, that's right, Judith. And so yes, Create and Craft do not exist anymore. However, Hayley and Dan were announcing it. Yes, that's right. Now, I did see somewhere where somebody was saying, or they were disrespecting Paul Wright. Let me tell you, Paul, if you're watching, I have never ever found Paul to be any other than a gentleman. In all my time under Paul Wright, as a supplier, everything was paid on time, nothing at all. And that was for 5 to 6 years. No problems whatsoever. It was the next people that did the damage, if you like, or when damage happened, allegedly. Get myself out of this. But as far as I'm aware, Paul Wright owns that building, and they are going to be running the craft store, not on a TV channel as far as I've heard. There are more announcements coming on 7 o'clock on Sunday evening, and, you know, new suppliers will be invited, but it will not be run on the same way as originally, when suppliers did their shows and the money went to the TV channel, and then the suppliers were paid the end of the following month or 60 days afterwards. With this, all the money, 100% of the money, goes to the supplier, between customer watching and the supplier. And as far as I'm aware, I don't know all the ins and outs of how it is, because I don't know whether I should be going back to it anyway. But instead of paying a percentage to the TV channel, there will be an upfront payment for the airtime. So what that would work out to be, because airtime is very, very expensive. So we shall just have to see. But I think it does sound a lot better for suppliers anyway, because if you imagine, if you have to pay for something, usually for me, I don't always do it on credit terms, but it's usually 30 days. So if you have to lay out the monies that you've used products for that show 30 days, and then you don't get paid till 30 days after that, you've got to have good cash flow to be able to support that gap. So, yeah. So we have got that. So we'll wait and see. But I think it's going to be on a Facebook platform, although from what they were saying, the the craft store building, which was Hochanda, and you know, all of the Hochanda craft store and Create and Craft were filmed from, that will be used, but it will be on Facebook as the platform where you can watch it. Whether they go to YouTube as well, I don't know. Jack will have to, oh, okay, no problem, Jack. It's just on timing. When I first said to Martin, he said, well, you don't want to do that again, do you? And I said, well, no, I said it just crossed my mind. It made me smile, actually. It made me think, oh, whether I do end up doing it, I'm not saying that at all. But with all the fabrics I've got coming in, it might get it turned over a bit quicker than I do at the minute. Absolutely, Caroline. Yes, it is the cash flow. And at the end of the day, all of those poor suppliers that actually had no payment whatsoever, and they'd laid out all of that cash to pay for the products that people had bought. I mean, people bought their money, paid their money. Suppliers bought the goods and posted them out, and nobody had anything, you know, just, and they weren't paid for them. So not good at all. And the other news was that Crafters Companion are back under Sarah's control, along with Hobbycraft as a backer. So, don't know what's going on there. Lots of things in the air. You have to keep your ears to the ground and find out, excuse me, what's going on. I haven't put me on loudspeaker. Have you noticed? Or not loudspeaker. I haven't put me on because it might go off. And I think you can hear me. You saw Hayley on Sewing Street for thought she wasn't as bubbly as she usually is. No, I saw that too. The only thing I thought, there was a little bit of, I shouldn't be disrespectful, but I'm not. There was too much talking over each other. I like to hear the demonstrator talking and the presenter, but not one over the top of the other. There is so much going on. Yes, indeed. Hello, Jan. Good evening to you. I'm lovely and warm. Can you see how snuggly I am? I've got a really big sloppy jumper on and a nice scarf. So really, really lovely. Anyhow, rather than keep nattering on, but we have to keep up to date with everything that's going on, don't we? Because you never know what is around the corner. But as I've told you before, let me have a look here. Here I am. Oh, that's it. As I've told you before, I concentrate on my group, my Sew with Trisha group, and that is where, that's a surprise, it is a surprise, Jack. So that is where my loyalties lie. And okay, so I know not everybody knows these things, but yes, it is very interesting. And as long as, you know, everybody gets to see what's going on and hear about it, rather than, depends what groups you're in, you know, you can find out things. I think, Jenny, I think you're in a group that I'm in, and their ears are to the ground, and I find out lots from there. It's really quite good. Anyhow, tonight's project. Hello, Josie. Hadn't realised she wasn't involved, but she has so much else going on. Yes, I know. I don't think it was made common knowledge, but there was an investment company took over about a year ago, and Sarah was no longer director or husband, and I think that was sort of so that it just continued. It didn't go into administration or anything like that, but, and whether she had got, hi Carol, whether she'd got all the things planned, such as Strictly and Good Morning, not Good Morning Britain, you know, on BBC, when the morning show and the evening show. She's a very, very busy lady. I wish I had half of her energy. Yeah, I think they had to drop everything in, though, because John rang in sick. Oh, that's right. He was the other day, wasn't he, Jack? Yes. Which was a shame. John's never sick. Love John. Love John Scott. I think he's lovely. But no, he's got nothing to do with Sarah. So anyhow, I think customers had noticed things weren't quite the same. And when Sarah wasn't at the helm, but now she will be. That's right. Well, Christine, I didn't listen to all of that. I love Janice too. Janice Phillips is wonderful. If you have a chance to listen to her, oh, love her to bits. And Barbara Gray. So yes, I'm glad Barbara's getting on, but I think she set her own little studio up for doing her lives. But I haven't got time for paper crafting. I won't say I've never done it, because I have, but I haven't got time at the minute. Hello, Isabel. Yes. But I haven't got anything else that's juicy up my sleeve. But obviously, hello, Sue. As soon as I know, I will let you know. Janice is funny, says Carol. She is. I know, you know, there's some people don't like John Scott. How can that be? I think he's wonderful. Janice, the same. Some people, you know, but honestly, if they knew Janice, because most of the people will not know her, I have spoken to her, I've worked with her, and I tell you, she is the most lovely person that you could ever wish to meet. I think actually she's been on one of my lives before, been watching. So, yeah, you wish was. I know, Judith, I know. Good evening, Jennifer. Clarity and Manufacturing stands for Jan. Oh, fabulous! I didn't know that. Ah. Now you see, yeah. And sometimes I've thought to myself, I'd like some stamps made. Good idea. Perhaps Barbara, I know Barbara as well, and perhaps she'd do that for me. Yeah, an idea. Yes, Jane, and yes, Jack. Lovely, lovely people. I don't, to be quite honest, you know, people moan about presenters, but there is not one single presenter that I don't like. Dan Bancroft, lovely. I love Janice as well. who else was there? Alex, you remember Alex Turchin? Catherine. You know, every presenter I've ever come across without a fail has been lovely. Also, Derek Marks, he's on cruises. He's on a cruise channel and he does that all the time. And I think sometimes he's on Gemporia or Paver's Shoes. Yes, exactly. Stamps for Fabric Projects. Exactly. Oh, Yanis, yes. But yeah, every single one of them. Every single one. So, you know, don't, if people say they don't like them, you just have to think, is it you or is it that person? Oh, Stuart Hillard. Oh, my goodness, yes. Haven't worked with him, but I have met him and had a chat to him, and he is lovely too. I think I told you that I was at the, I was at some show, and I went over to him, and I did say to him hello, and I said, you won't know me. I said, I'm Trisha from So Totally Trisha. He said, oh, I know about you. Now, my jaw dropped then. I thought, what have you been hearing, or who's been talking? Yes, Bridget, we know Paul, don't we? Used to see Paul regularly in another craft store that I worked in some years ago. Lovely chap, lovely. And I had an email to say John Scott not continue with his app. Not surprised, I haven't watched any since May. Oh, right. Ah, yes. Yes, he had his group thing, didn't he? Yes, I will, Christine. I'll have a look. I'll have a look. Raina loves Derek. Oh, do you know, I absolutely adored him. I did a Christmas show with him because actually when I was there in my early days, either 2, if not 3 years, they asked me to do one of the Christmas Day shows, which was lovely. Obviously, I wasn't in there on Christmas Day, but I was in there. See, look, I'm chattering away again. Used to like Matt. Yes, Matt. He was lovely. Very down to earth, gentle, very, very nice. Charlie, lovely too. Yep. Okay, I'm going to crack on. So, the bag we're going to make tonight, I've made one already, and I made it in just over half an hour. So, I've got half an hour. Okay. So, just bog standard. This is your new, I have, haven't I, Bridget, when you think about it. Here is a little bag. Easy, convenient for anything at all. So I have made this out of a 10-inch square, okay? And it works out about, yeah, just over 9. So it's about 9 inches square finished with a, ooh, it's about 3 inches actually, yes, with a 3-inch depth or a width there. So, you watched me on her Chanda secretly at work. Oh, did you, Jane? That's funny. That's some years ago, isn't it? So, if you haven't started bag making or you worry about bag making, start off with this one because using this technique, you can make any size you like. So, if you've got a scrap of fabric, as long as it's twice the size you want, well, what I would do, it is a lovely quick project. What I would do is cut your fabric in half, and whatever measurement it is, this is your outer fabric. All you need to do is cut 2 more pieces exactly the same size for the lining, 2 pieces exactly the same size of wadding, and then 2 handles, whatever length you want them to be. So if you wanted a huge beach bag, cut your fabric, I don't know, 30 inches by 20. And you want 2 outer pieces of 30 by 20, 2 lining pieces 30 by 20, and 2 pieces of wadding 30 by 20. Your handles as long as you like. So the other option, or the other variable, is the depth of your bag. So if you want it to be wide, you cut the square in the corner bigger. So if I cut a 2-inch square in the corner, I'm going to have a 4-inch width at the bottom. If I wanted bigger, if I cut a 3-inch square, which I have done, can't think what I called the bag at the time, but you would have a 6-inch. So lovely and big. Oh, thank you, Erica. Oh, I know your name for many, many orders. Absolutely. So thank you for that. It's people like yourself that have kept me going from then right through to now. So I thank you all very, very much. So as I say, if you want dinky for a little girl, for a little granddaughter, do it from a 6-inch square, or even say 8-inch by 6 inches, and cut a 1-inch square at the bottom so it's a bag. You might like to make them for Easter eggs, you know, a little gift to put a little bag to put the Easter egg in a very small size. I didn't have time to do lots of different sizes, but this is what I'm saying. All you need, whatever size of bag you want, just do whatever size, but just make sure your lining is the same size and your wadding, 2 pieces of each. So I have already cut my fabrics, and I have already just popped the wadding onto the other side with a bit of 505 spray. Now at this point, I was going to do, but my brain hasn't thought what I was going to do. At this point, if you want to decorate this, if you want to put a bit of an appliqued heart, if you want to put an appliqued flower, if you've got an embroidery machine, embroider a design on here. If you like using decorative stitches from your sewing machine, do some embroidery stitches across here. If you wanted to, what else could you do? Basically anything. I thought about doing a little woven section on the front, and any variations that you could do. Put some lace across it, put some ribbon, just decorate it if you would like to. I'm going to do it plain to give you the absolute basics. So here we go. Let's just, in case, oh, there we are. In case you ask me some questions, I'll have my phone there, and I'll just dip you down to the machine so you can see what we're doing, hopefully. There we go. So I've got my 2 outer pieces. Obviously your wadding should line up with your outer fabric. I'll trim those little bits back where it's a little bit larger. And the straps or the handles you're going to have will be 4-inch wide in the fabric and as long as you want them to be. I just cut my handle strips from the bit of extra fabric I had. And if you're in the Sew with Trisha group and were watching the other day doing the Anthea bag, you will know how I make my handles very easily and sturdily. So there's my 4-inch width of fabric. We're going to fold it in half and press. So there it's in half. Open out along the press. Sashiko would be a fab idea. What's the best way to sew cork into a bag, please? You could do this whole bag in cork if you wanted to. Absolutely. Excuse me. Cut your square of cork. Absolutely fine. I should have done, I'll perhaps make another one over the weekend. But yes, the cork that I have, I don't know if there's any on the website, but absolutely ideal for making this type of bag out of. Not a problem at all. So back to the straps. Once you've pressed it in half, then you open it out and fold in the one raw edge to that center crease and press it. And then the other raw edge, press that into the center and press it. Make sure they don't overlap in the middle. You want them just to butt up to each other, and then fold it in half so all the raw edges are enclosed, and press it again. So you've got a 1-inch wide strip. So I'm just going to quickly, let's get this down here, run this down here. Oh, I missed those back. Oh no, that's it. So with my, there we are. Let's see, I've got that on there. So you can stitch 1/4 of an inch away from the edge. I am going to increase my stitch length to 3.5. And I don't want to start there. I usually do mine 1/8 of an inch from the edge. And I always, I'll just show you, I always stitch down the open edge. They are folded edges, but I do that first, and I shall go all the way down to the bottom, and I'm using a variegated thread just to make it a little bit different. And I don't cut my thread there, I'm just going straight across to the other side, because that will go in the seam allowance anyway. But I'm just going to, I've got my foot down full pelt, and it doesn't look as if I'm doing a very straight job of this actually, but we'll cut it off there so that I've got one done. Oh, let's just come in just a little bit, that's it. And then we'll go with the second one. So where the edges come together, let's see if I can do this one a little bit better. Try and keep a nice straight line. You could do decorative stitch down here as well, but a straight stitch is nice and quick. So all the way down to almost the end, swivel, and whoops, just stitch across to the other side and pivot again, and then we'll go all the way down the edge here. Oh dear, I'm not doing a very good job by going so fast. Right, so there I have two bag handles. As I say, I've used variegated thread just to give it a little twist, if you like. So the next thing, I'm just going to set those aside for a moment, because what I want to do now is, and this is where I'll do it just a little bit different. So I have got my pieces of my outer bag here, so I'm going to stack them up one on top of the other, and then I'm going to stack my lining as well. So just make sure if it's got a direction, actually I'll do that this way, you just line those up so that all the edges align. Just make sure that is that way as well. So let's pop that down here. Now I'm doing it this way because I'm going to draw on here. So these are all stacked up, perfectly aligned, just here. And at the two bottom corners, I am going to mark, here we are, little ruler. The bag I showed you had got 1.5 inch corners cut out. So I'm just putting my ruler, I'm going to do 1 inch on this, just to show you the slight difference it will have. So 1 inch, like so. Now the pen's a little bit thick, but as long as they're the same, because I'm going to cut through all 6 layers, 2 wadding, 2 outer and 2 lining. I'm just going to cut through all of those at the same time, like so. And that will be all the cutting that I need to do at the minute. So let's just clip those out. So just to hold them together, I put my thumb into that square that I've drawn and just clip those across and across here. It just holds them all together. And if you cut one at a time, you might do one a little bit bigger or a bit smaller, but that's all we need to do there. So we've got all of our lining, wadding and outer fabric all cut with the squares at the bottom corner. So we're going to take one of our bag pieces here. I'm going to turn it this way because at the top edge I'm going to put my handles now. Let's take that bag out of the way. So I'm going to have my bag, the top edge here, and I'm going to 2.5 inches in, I will just measure that, 2.5. I'm going to place my bag handle and I'm going to pop a clip on there. So that is 2.5. Make sure the handles are not twisted, and then 2.5 inches in from the other edge, 2.5 there, and we'll put a little clip on there. And then I'm going to do exactly the same with my other piece as well. So there is my top edge. The bottom edge, as you saw, has got the cut out corners. So again, 2.5 inches there. Might have to put a pin in that one. Whoops. Oh no, there's a clip. And make sure it's not twisted. And then 2.5 from here, 1, 2.5. And we'll just put a little pin in there. So I've got my handles in place. And just for ease, I'm just going to stitch across where the handles are so that I don't have to. So it's just a holding stitch. And over to the next bit and just stitch across there. It just means then I don't have to have pins hanging around. So there is my, let's just take that little bit of thread off there. So there are my handles in place. And whoops, here is my other one. It's typical when it falls on the floor. Here is my other piece. And I'm going to do exactly the same. So just hold that there where you're stitching. I even am known to just carry on stitching across there to anchor that one down as well. Okay, so I've got my 2 pieces. Oops, don't want that bit of thread in there, do we? And having now, so there is my handle attached to that top edge. I'm now going lining fabric. There's my line. I'm going to put it right side down. So let's just swivel that round. So there are my handles, right side down onto that top edge. Just align that top edge like that. And I'm going to stitch the whole way across the top edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and also just a normal standard default stitch length of 2.5. So let's just stitch across here. So whatever measurement this might be, it's going to be the same whether it's a bag this size or the size that you have chosen to have. So I'll take my other piece and place my lining piece. Make sure your cutout corner is lined up with the cutout corner on your main bag piece, your outer, and we'll just line that up there and do exactly the same. You can pop pins on here or binding clips, but it's a fairly short distance. If I were doing a bigger bag, I probably would. Well, I most definitely would. But we are just going to stitch across there, all the way across. I'm just going to trim out that little bit of wadding which has slipped a bit. Then I am going to, whoops, that's it. Then I'm going to open that out. Okay, open out. And take my second piece, open it out like that. And I'm going to put it right sides together so that I have got outer fabric on top of outer and lining on top of lining. I'm going to take these center where the top edges are, where the lining meets our outer fabric. I am going to line those up, and I do put a pin in there because I want it to hold. Swivel to the other side and do exactly the same there. Line that top edge up where the fabrics, the outer and lining meet, and then I am going to stitch. So I'm going to stitch from my lining, so we'll go down the long sides first of all. So I'm doing from the lining, so straight under here, just make sure that should all line up. And whoops, there we go. So I do like to reverse a couple of stitches there. That just holds that tight for later. That's it, I'm lining those edges up when I come to box out those corners. Okay, so we'll whiz here. I haven't lined that up very well just there. So let's just move that over a little bit. That's better. So we'll come down here. We're now going onto the wadding part, the main outer. Just line that up. pins down here if you would like to, but I'm just pulling that across, make sure I am lining up correctly, and straight down here. And again, if you want to reverse at the end just there, that holds that nicely. So cut the thread, and then we'll move down to this bottom edge. Now the handles here just get in the way a bit, but if you want to just pull that down, line that up just here. Whoops, that's my lining coming, my wadding coming away. So straight on here, a little reverse, and pins would probably be a better job here, because as I say, the bulky handles in between just push it out of line. But if you just hold that well, so I've got my fingers there, and just reverse at the end, and then we will just turn it one more time, and we'll do the other long side. So line up that cutout corner there, and I can see that works well. And then this is going up the side to where we meet the lining. There, we're coming towards my next pin. Just make sure we can pull that out just before we get to it. Just make sure that lining is aligned there. And straight down to this end. And as I say, that should match pretty well, because we've only just cut out the square out of the corner. And this is the important part. We need somewhere to be able to turn it. So here is our base here. I'm going to leave a fairly big gap in the middle. So we'll start at that edge, and again we'll reverse, and I'll just do a couple of inches in there, and then cut that, and then shift it across, and we'll do a couple of inches at this other end, and reversing as well. Okay. Now another little thing I don't always do, but it is a good idea to do. At this point, open out where that gap is, open that out, fold it back about 1/4 inch. So we are actually stitched to there. So just folding that back, and then flip it over and fold this other side back to match the piece we folded back before. And I'm just using my nail to press that. You can of course use a seam roller. There we are, just fold that back, and that just helps a little bit when we come to close that gap. So I've got my gap in my fabric here. I'm going to put my hand in the bag now, and no, I'm not. Before I do that, I'm going to close my corners. So here is that cutout square. I'm going to put my finger in between the two outer layers, and I'm just going to pull that apart like that. So it was like that. We're just flattening it like a duck's mouth there. Lay those seams one way and one the other. Pin across there if you like, but I'm just going to flatten that down and go under. Just hold that nicely together, reverse at the beginning, and then go all the way across and reverse at the end. And then we'll do exactly the same on the other side here. Finger in between those two layers of outer fabric, which it's not making that sit. There we go. So I've just opened that out. It's because it's a smaller hole. Pull it apart and line up these seams like so. One way and one the other. See what I'll do, I'll put a binding clip on there. So pop a clip on there to hold it, then flatten it down and progress. So we'll start, reverse, take that off for a minute and stitch across and reverse again. That's the bottom. And then the lining, we'll do exactly the same. So we'll just pull that apart, open it out, flatten it so the seams, one goes one way and one goes the other. A little bit like nesting in our patchwork, and we're going to stitch across there. So let's just hold that down and again reverse and reverse again, and the same on the other side. Flatten that down. I look at my seam going that way, so I'll make sure this one goes that way as well. So I just get those seams together. The lining is always easiest because you've got no wadding to go through, so it just lays really nice and flat. So as I say, reverse a couple of stitches just to make that nice and secure. Okay, so now is the time to put my hand in the bag. So into the lining, I grab one of the corners and just push that in, grab hold of it and pull it through the gap in the lining. So I just sort of gently ease that around till we've got the whole of that outer bag out. And then I always check. So there's my straps. I put my hand back in the gap in the lining and just take my fingers down to the corners. Okay, so there's one corner. I don't know how well you can see, but there, that meets nicely just there. And then over to the other corner, put my fingers out into there. And there is our outer done. So there's no, everything is stitched fine there. So we can just poke those corners because it makes it easier for lining up the base. So here we go. So you see where along here I folded that back, it's already turning itself in. You can't see there where my gap is. So I'm just grabbing hold of the seam where we did stitch, and if you just pull there, those edges line up nicely. So we're just going to stitch across this edge, and I stitch fairly closely, starting on the seam that's already joined, and I'm just going to pull that over to line that up and just start stitching. And I'm just holding that together so you can pin across here as well. But I can see that is stitching quite nicely. Just reverse a couple of stitches to hold that. Trim that little bit off, see if there's a bit here as well. And just to be safe, just pull. So pull your fabric apart there. Make sure that you haven't missed anything. Oh, I thought I trimmed that. Just make sure you haven't missed a little bit. But that is all nice, safe and secure. So now we're going to tuck it into the bag. So push your fingers. So I've got my fingers like this and they're going down into that corner, pushing the lining into the bag. And similarly on this side too. Okay. And there is your bag practically finished. Now I do like to do a little bit of top stitching around that top edge. If you wanted to, you could leave your lining over the top, so about there, so that you've got a little bit of an edge. On this one, I like to have it tucked in. So, and also, as I like stitching on my outer fabric, I don't want to take the table off here. If you've got a free arm, take it off and then tuck it over the free arm, over the arm here, and you can stitch round. But because I'm not doing that, what I'm going to do is turn it inside out. Okay, like this. So turn your bag inside out so that your lining is on the outside. So it could quite easily be a reversible bag if you wanted it to. So that way I can now much more easily stitch on the inner edge. So I'm just going to pull that down. I would normally take it to the ironing board and just press around this top edge, making that seam all come right down so that when I do my top stitching, my seam is right on that top edge. Okay, so having done that, I can now pop this under the machine like this. So I'm just going to pop that under there. I'm not going to start, bit of thread, I'm not going to start right in the centre. I'm going to start over here. Now let's have a look. That's it. I'll start over here and I'm going to stitch in there. That's it. So I'm stitching on my outer fabric, but in here. So I'm just going to keep turning the bag round. So let's just make sure. So I'm holding that nice and firmly. I'm going to put my stitch length up to a 3.5 because I'm top stitching. Okay, so when I've got as far as I can, I'm just pulling that bag around a little bit more. I'm making sure my lining fabric is tucked out of the way. And then I'm just going to keep moving this round a little bit more. So I've got the, as I say, the lining I want going under there, so all I can see is my outer fabric. And then pull that round again. We will very soon be all the way around here because it's a nice small bag. That's it. Go a little bit slower over those seams at the side because you have got wadding in there as well. So just pull that nice and firmly around over a bag handle and bring that round just a little bit more, and I'm nearly back to where I started. So there we go, and then I do a couple of stitches, hopefully that you can't see, over the first two where I started. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that bit of thread. I'm sure there might be a little bit over here. There is. Okay, so having, that looks like my outer fabric now, doesn't it? But it isn't. So all I'm going to do is grab my bag and pull it to the right side, put my fingers down into that bottom edge to push the lining down, and there is my bag all made. So seriously, in about half an hour, and I was talking as we did it, let's just take that off, but we are all completely finished. Unbelievable, you'd say, wouldn't you? Unbelievable. There we go. Whoops, it's moving a little bit. So Alison really likes small bags. Yes. So there is another one. So you can see a little bit narrower. Oh, my chair is falling all funny. So there's number 2. So what you'll see, the bigger your square, can you see how it makes the bag a little bit shorter? Okay, because the tops are level there. So narrower bag here becomes longer, but a fatter based bottom is a little bit shorter. So it just depends what you want. There's still plenty of space in both of those bags. The handles saying that, I don't think my handles are exactly the same, but just looking at the bags themselves, you can see the difference there, can't you? And that is purely the width of your square. It is so quick. it may, perhaps if it took you a couple of hours, Nikki, it's still pretty quick, isn't it? Before sewing it together, you could embroider a lovely design in the middle. You absolutely could. And the other reason, so that you can see what sort of size they are, you could use layer cake. Sometimes you get two of the same fabric, but what would be the problem with using two different fabrics, one for one side and one the other, or with a layer cake, cut them both in half and stitch two different fabrics together so that you could have it looking the same on both sides. Leslie's just managed to get online. You'll watch a bit later. Absolutely fine. Leslie, I'm getting tired, I think. Okay. So, you prefer a fat bottom. So do I, Nikki. It goes with me very, very well. So, what I thought I would do for those Sew with Trisha members, I will put a PDF for, I call it the ultimate bag, or the basic bag for anybody really. So I'll put that PDF in the group very, very shortly. This colour would look good. Now, if you've got an embroidery machine, what I'd also say, embroider with your wadding already underneath your outer fabric. So hoop your, I would hoop it, you can float it, but if you put your stitch and tear at the bottom with your wadding and outer fabric on the top, it stitches beautifully. I've done it. If I had more time, I would have done exactly that. But I have embroidered on this canvas before, and it is really lovely. Actually, I must put the canvas into the group as well. So that is what that is. It is. I know it is a simple bag, but it will actually get you out a lot of situations if you're in a hurry and want to make something personalized or special for somebody. Oh, my chair is just going a little bit strange. Oh. So yes, it's your quick make for the day, and you can make it as special as you like, or as, you know, depending on the fabric you're using. If you've got something that's highly patterned, you might just want it to be very plain. The other thing I was going to do, but I thought it would take a bit long, you could quilt it, cross-hatch quilt it, just like we did the Anthea bag the other day. Anyhow, I'm going to stop now because I could keep on talking. If I find some more information about anything at all, I shall come straight to you. So all I'm left to say is thank you for watching this evening. Stay warm. Have a lovely Friday evening and weekend. It's supposed to be getting a little bit warmer. I won't say warm, less cold, I should say. But just stay safe, whatever you're doing. And if you'd like to like and share the video tonight, I would appreciate it greatly. So just click that share button once it's there, and it will show it to lots of people. So thank you for your time tonight. I will see you next week on Tuesday with the start of our Christmas runner in the Sew with Trisha group. So take care of yourselves, and bye for now.